Hello my lovelies, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for watching this video. If you find it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also click on the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I next upload a video. Many thanks and I hope you enjoy this video.
Today's video is inspired by one of my lovely followers. We've been chatting about striping tape on your nail art, and it just occurred to me that I actually haven't done a video on striping tape. So I thought I'd do this. As Caroline was saying, she was going to be doing some striping tape, and hopefully there are some hints and tips in here that might help you with your striping tape, because it can be a bit fickle, it can be a little bit tricky. So I've learned a few things along the way. So today we're going to be using a colour. I've got Blue Skies Neon 24, but obviously you can use colour of your choice. We've got a base coat and a top coat. We've got our striping tape. We have scissors, just a pair of small nail scissors or cuticle nippers, just anything to cut the striping tape. Tweezers, and I'm just going to do it on a colour pot because I just happened to have done my nails yesterday, but the process is exactly the same as it would be to do it on your natural nails. So in this instance, I'm actually not going to apply a base coat because I'm doing this on a colour pop. So normally if you're doing this on yourself, then you would put a layer of base coat down first. Just as a little tip for anyone that uses the colour pops, if you find that your colour is shrinking on the pops or doesn't look that good, just do a quick clean of your colour pop with some isopropyl alcohol before you use it, and that should solve that issue for you. So that's my first coat, and I'm going to pop that in my lamp for 30 seconds. Okay, so that's our 30 seconds done. So I'm just going to apply a second coat of this colour. I love this blue. It's such a, it's neon blue, but it's actually just a really bold, kind of royal blue. But depending on what you pair it with, it can look, a little bit brighter or a little bit darker, but it's a great colour. I love it. It's very versatile blue. So I'm just going to pop that second coat in for its 30-second cure. Okay, so our second coat has had its 30-second cure. We now have 2 coats of colour. I think that's a bold enough colour for me, so I'm happy with that. So the next thing we need to do is remove the sticky layer from that colour. So I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol to do that, but you can use your gel cleanser, whatever you use to remove the sticky layer, will work perfectly well. You just want to make sure you don't have that sticky layer on your nail, and then just let that dry. Okay, so this is where the fun starts. So striping tape can be a little bit of a nightmare, if I'm honest. It's a bit like sticky tape. It's pretty much impossible to find the start once you've already used it. And I've used this striping tape a few times now, and as much as I turn the corners down so that I can find it next time, as you can see, it's always an epic fail. So I'm just going to take my tweezers, and I'm going to try and just put a break in it towards the top to minimize the number of layers that I go through, but I'm not going to be able to find it otherwise. So as I said, striping tape can be tricky. If that's not going to work, then I might try my cuticle nippers. That will probably do the trick. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And there we have it. Okay. So as I said, striping tape can be a little bit tricky. You do actually, one of the things with striping tape is it's very, very difficult not to waste product when you're using it. So, I can unravel this. The main thing you want to make sure is that you don't touch the part of striping tape that you're actually going to use on your nails. So that's what the tweezers are here for. But I'll be quite honest with you, I find it really, really fiddly working with the tweezers. So I'm just going to cut this off. And I always make sure I have a long strip of striping tape, knowing that I'm really just going to use the bit in the center. So I'm going to hold it at the top here and at the bottom here, and that's where I'm going to cut it. And I'm just going to avoid touching it anywhere in that center part. I'm going to see if I can save that for next time, but I'll just end up digging through and doing the same thing again. Now, So obviously this is a little bit tricky to do on yourself. Like all nail art, it's so much easier to do on somebody else. But then where would the challenge be? So I'm just going to put it on my nail just to show you how I do it one-handed effectively. So I just lay the striping tape down. As I said, I fully expect to lose the top part of the striping tape, so long as I don't touch the part that's going on my nail. So I'll hold it with my thumb and I'll bring this bit down to the point where I want it, basically. So if I was lining up in the center of my nail, I'm looking at about there. And then I just hold the top part of it here, and then I'll pick it up at the top and line that side up there. Okay. So once you're happy with the placement, and this is a really, really important thing with striping tape, you must make sure that the striping tape ends before either the cuticle area of your nail, the gel polish, or the free edge. If it's hanging over the edge, it will pick, and trust me, it will peel. You won't believe the striping tape actually does just lift through several layers of gel polish. So what you want to do is just lift it up and trim it just short of your cuticle area. Okay, and it's a bit tricky because you don't want to trim it too short, because then it's going to look like you ran out of striping tape. But if you don't have that little bit of a gap, then your top coat isn't going to go around your cuticle area and your striping tape will lift. Okay, so you want to do the same thing at this end. Okay, and I'm going to trim it. And I don't know how clear that is on camera, but that actually is just shy of the edge. I can feel that I don't have that edge, and I can top coat over that quite happily. Now, if you've got a silicone tool, this is really handy for this, but equally you could use the back end of your tweezers, anything just to push that right down so that it is absolutely dead flush against the nail. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to coat this, so I'll revert back to my colour pot, but I just wanted to show you how I actually do it on my natural nail with one hand. So use your thumb to hold it down at the one end and then guide the other end with the thumb and forefinger of your opposite hand. Okay, so coming back to my trusty little colour pop, and I've lost that bit of striping tape, so I'm just going to get a new little piece. Okay, and I'm just going to cut that so I have a decent strip. Trim that off. Oh, look at that, I managed to save the end for next time. Miracles will never cease. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, and we're just going to lay it flat down on our colour pop. Okay, and oh, I'm sorry if I was out of shot there. So I'm centered in my nail, I'm quite happy with that, so I'm just going to trim it slightly shy of the free edge. As I said, it can be a little bit tricky. Okay, and same on this side as well. So I'm going to go slightly shy of my cuticle. Okay, so now I'm going to get my silicone tool and I'm going to push this down with as much effort as I can. This stuff is amazing. It's actually not as super sticky as would be handy, and it does lift very easily. So just push it down, try and make sure you haven't got any lifting bits. If you have any bits that you feel are lifting, then I would just peel it off and get a new bit of striping tape. Yes, it does waste a little bit of product, but then you won't find yourself having to redo your nail within a couple of days because your striping tape has lifted through the polish. It does literally do that. So make sure that that's absolutely super flat. I'm happy with that. I can't feel it on the edge there. I can't feel it on the edge there. And then what you want to do is take a few layers of a clear polish. Now, if you use builder gel, then clear builder gel is perfect for this. But if you don't, no worries. You can use a base coat. You can use a top coat. Anything that's clear, basically. If you're using a top coat, I would either make sure it has a tacky layer, when it cures. Okay, so you don't want a non-white top coat at this point. If you've only got non-white top coat, that is absolutely fine. Just make sure you buff it between layers. Okay, you really want to put at least 2 layers on for striping tape. So you want to make sure if you're using a non-white top gel that you buff between each layer. Alternatively, you can use a base coat. It is entirely up to you. But the slightly thicker gels are handy. It just means that you can do a few fewer layers. Okay, but if you've only got thin coat, don't worry, you can still use your striping tape. You'll just need a few layers. So you will often find that nails with striping tape are slightly thicker than what your nail would normally be, and that's why, because you need to make sure it's really, really well encapsulated so it doesn't lift. And you want to make sure that you're getting over the edges on both sides, okay, so that the edges of that striping tape are really, really well encapsulated. It's not very likely to lift in the middle of the striping tape, but those edges are likely to be the first places that go. And then just pop that in your lamp for 30 seconds or whatever the cure time is on that clear polish that you're using. So our first layer of our clear has cured, and I'm now going to put on my second layer. I'm using base gel, but as I said, you can use whatever clear gel you would like. Just make sure that it's thick enough, or you can layer it up so it becomes thick enough to encapsulate that glitter, that striping tape. Okay, so there's our second coat, and I'm going to go back in my lamp for 30 seconds. Okay, so my second coat has now cured and has come out of my lamp. So I'm quite happy with that. That's looking pretty good. I'm not catching on that striping tape at all. That's just the edge of my plastic tip, but I'm not feeling the edge of that striping tape. If I do that, it's not picking that up. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I feel like I've got a thick enough layer on that, bearing in mind that I've still got to top coat it. This would be the time if you're going to do any other embellishments on your nail. So if you wanted to add some crystals, if you wanted to do some stamping around your striping tape, anything like that, then now is the time to do it. If you're going to do anything like that, then make sure you remove the tacky layer of that polish first. But I'm not going to do anything else like that today. I just wanted to show you how to do the striping tape. So I am now going to top coat my nail. Okay, and be quite generous with your layer of top coat. I tend to float my top coat over striping tape, or pretty much any nail art that I've done, to be quite honest. Because if you have a more generous layer of top coat, you're much less likely to get any issues with lifting if it's striping tape, with peeling or your a stamp wearing away. Glitter's less likely to start coming away from your nail. And also if you're using crystals as well, then you want quite thick top coat around those so that it gives them a nice snug little bed to rest into. So that's just in my lamp curing for 30 seconds. Okay, so that is my top coat cured. This top coat cures with a tacky layer. This is not Madame Glam's non-wipe top coat, so I am just going to do a little squirt of my isopropyl alcohol and give that a wipe and get rid of my tacky layer. And I've got my nice shiny coat. Okay, now this may sound a little over the top. I do another check, and if I feel any slight hint of that striping tape, which I'm not in this instance, but let's just say for argument's sake that I do, I would take my nail file. This is a 180-240 NSI buffer, which as you can see is well loved, and I would just buff this nail. Okay, you don't want to be aggressive with this. You're not trying to wear through your top coat, which is why I'm using the buffer side as opposed to the filing side. I just want to get that shiny layer off so that I can smooth over the edge of that striping tape. Okay, so let's say for argument's sake I'm getting a bit of roughness on the free edge, then I would take the rougher side and I would just lightly, because again I don't want to go through to my colour layer, and it won't take you long to get rid of that edge. and just make sure that you've buffed every little bit of that surface so your next layer of top coat will stick. My brush to it, I like to do another squirt of isopropyl alcohol if I have done any buffing on my nails, because I don't like to see any dust in my nails when they're finished. Okay, and I'll just grab my top coat once more. Okay, and now like there's just, you wouldn't even know that there's striping tape on this nail at this point. Okay, you can't feel it at all, and that is what you want, because you're going to be less likely that you're going to have that striping tape lifting, and it should last you, your 2 to 3 weeks, however long you go before you switch out your money, because like me, you get bored. So back in the lamp for 30 seconds. So striping tape looks amazing in summary. It is a really lovely tool, and of course I just did a single stripe down the center of my nail. I better take that one off as well. But of course you can do different shapes with this. You can do chevrons, you can do like a brick layering, you can have different colors striping tape depending on what you've got in your collection. And some of the striping tapes are thinner. This is quite wide for a striping tape. I have some colors that are not glittery that are significantly slimmer. And the non-glittery ones don't tend to be quite so wide either, quite so thick. I think having the glitter definitely thickens it. So you might find that your nail is a little bit thicker than what you're used to when you use striping tape, but that's absolutely fine, and you must make sure it's fully encapsulated if you don't want that striping tape to lift through the life of your mani. Okay, and there is our finished nail. Our blue with silver glitter striping tape. So good luck, have fun with it, do a bit of experimenting, and I hope that's helped. Thanks, see you in the next one. Take care, bye.